What's up, manga fans? This is Rafa from C Manga, and welcome back to another review of Bleach. This week's chapter 607, The Master. I think they should change the title to The Boss, because Ichibei is living up to my expectations of being a complete badass. This chapter is so much what I've wanted and expected from Ichibei. I knew from the first time we saw him back in, at the end of the first invasion of this war. I just thought, yeah, I can tell this guy is most likely the leader of the Zero Squad in terms of strength and power, and he's definitely shown it. And his sadistic nature is very fresh and interesting. I like how he's so violent and aggressive towards Yhwach, and Yhwach just seems to keep provoking him more and more. And what we see even from the start, Yhwach, just really doesn't know how to control his tongue. From the start, he's like, Ichibei, you took half my power. It's because you were scared. And it's like, this really strokes my ego. The leader of the Zero Squad, or the leader of the Zenigami, scared of me, so he's reduced half of my power. And he goes further on to stroke his own ego, saying, I can take my power back whenever I want. Nobody can take a piece of whatever I possess from me. I can always take it back. Everything in the world more or less belongs to me. And he sends these column of reishi hurtling towards Ichibei, who literally just claps it together and makes it dissipate. And this is when you can tell he's really getting irritated, but it makes me laugh how he kind of twisted it back on Juha when he was stroking his ego. He's like, you know what, that's a shame, Juha. I was actually trying to preserve your reputation and save you the humiliation. I halved your power because it'd be shameful if I defeated you when you're at your best. So I thought, let me defeat you at half your power to save you the humiliation. But now I'm gonna pulverize you at full power, and it's gonna basically be the shame of all the Quincy that follow you. And I just thought, you gotta love it. The banter from them two was great, and the fact that Ichibei's just giving it straight back to him. We've seen it in the other chapters as well, where he keeps in a way treating him like a child, saying, you're being naughty, you're disruptive, start listening, you can never listen to me. And he usually beats him for it. So after that little banter, he leaps into the air and he uses Bakado 62, the 100 post Kido. And Yhwach seems to use a Dragon Ball Z dome shield technique with his new, I think it was newly revealed, his advanced version of Blood Ven Anhaben or something like that. And it's basically a defense like barrier that extends out the actual body of the user. So he's able to not just use Blood Ven on his actual skin and make himself solid, he can make a dome and protect himself. So Ichibei was really interested in this. He's like, oh, that's new, that's interesting. And he uses this technique. This is the most wordy technique I've ever seen. It is Urahado Sanado Tetsu Fusatsu, and you gotta give me props for pronouncing that. And it basically creates a dragon like aura, most likely made out of Ryatsu, and it starts to surround him, and then it breaks the barrier. From what it looked like to me, it looked like it was sucking it in, but either way it shattered it. And Ichibei just goes in and grabs him by the throat, and he's like, I've got you now. And Latch is like, oh really, you've got me? He's like, my blood vein, my blood anha then can consume everything, including you. And it travels up Ichibei's arm and starts to go down, like basically starts to cover the left side of his face. And he's like, basically you're going to lose the left side of your face and the rest of your body. And Ichibei's like, you really think of a pathetic technique that's going to stop me? So he stops the blood vein by, like, it's like he pumps up his arm and makes the blood, like all the veins popped up. It's like he stopped the blood flow from making letting the blood vein from going further up, and it just completely stops and goes back. And then he tears out Juha's throat, and I was just like, he is brutal. I enjoyed that so much. It's just literally, I just think, yeah, Yhwach really needs to get his throat torn up, because he just keeps mouthing off, and that was just brilliant. And he's like, you've just really pushed me far, Juha. You keep mocking me. You've invaded the royal palace and disrupted it and made a mess of it. you've mocked the royal guard and you dare try and evade my body with that technique, and then releases his Zanpakutō, something I've been waiting for more of the royal guard to use. Depending on which translation you read, it's either blacken out, paint it black. It's the same thing. Ichimonji, which me translate to straight line. So the actual his actual Zanpakutō is basically, it doesn't really change that much. It's the same brush he had in its standard form when it was unreleased, but the end of the brush has like a medium-sized blade that comes out, so it's more or less a blade came out of it. So it's kind of simple, but as I said, I'm looking forward to see what this does. I like how its release is blacking out, because it's, you know, I don't know, there's some, for me it feels like there's some kind of I'd say symbolism in terms of it, you know, Shinigamis wear black, he's got a paintbrush with black and all that. I know it doesn't really make sense, but I feel like there's something important there, and it's a really nice touch. So I'm looking forward to see what he's released on Zanpakutō is going to do. He's already slapping Yhwach around. I know Ichibei isn't going to win this one, but I'd love to see how much further this fight is going to go, and how much damage he can do to Yhwach before, you know, obviously whatever the inevitable happens and he's most likely going to lose. As I said, this fight has been really interesting. There's been quite a bit of tension. The fighting has been very interesting and like more imaginative than some of the fights where it was a bit more back and forth. Oh, I use a technique, mine's better. Oh, you use a technique, mine's better. There's been kind of a balance between both of them where they seem both quite even, and you know, there's quite a few Shinigami and Quincy techniques being used, and no one seems to be getting one-offed or beaten in one simple hit like we've seen in most fights. Even the Royal Guard are seeming to struggle right now. But in this one, Ichibei is holding his ground. Yhwach is doing what he can to press him, and as I said, it seems like it's a stalemate right now. So it's been really fun. I love the artwork of this chapter, particularly on Ichibei. He just looks so demonic. Even the color page at the beginning, where his eyes are just like red and yellow, and he's grinning like this. And as I said, we see it a few times in the chapter, that that kind of grinning troll face. And then the end, he looked like a complete demon. His eyes have rolled back and they're white, and he's holding his brush. It looked really, really great. I'm loving this chapter, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. So yeah, definitely brilliant chapter for me this week, and bring on next week. So you guys know the usual. If you got any opinions, leave them in the comment box below. And if you're new to the channel, check out what videos we might have that might interest you, and I'll speak to you guys next time.